Welcome back to this week's AMT Fresh Produce Report made possible by Villa Crop Protection. We've seen some big movements in both the vegetable and fruit markets over the past week. Tomatoes continue to dominate with strong prices, while the potato market is entering a tough few weeks as large volumes start coming in. Over in the fruit markets, oranges and avocados are showing clear signs of strength as we move out of season, both setting up for higher prices going into summer. So let's take a closer look at how these markets performed and what to expect heading deeper into October. With world-class solutions like Masterlock tailored for South African conditions, Villa helps you manage risk and increase productivity with research-backed confidence. Starting with vegetables again this week, the potato price increased to R47.71 per 10 kg, but is still 55% lower than a year ago. Tomato prices were a standout again this week, jumping 18% week on week to R13.82 per kilogram, but is this rally about to end? Onions dropped to R38.92 per 10 kg, about 23% lower year on year, while carrots traded 4% higher on R5.35 per kilogram. Peppers jumped to R22.27 per kilogram. Cabbages came in higher at R1.63, still 46% down from last year. Sweet potatoes increased to R5.22 per kilogram. Spinach climbed to R2.50, while butternuts slipped slightly to R13.71. Pumpkins fell back by about 6% to R8.06 per kilogram last week. Garlic prices dropped to R59.98, green beans traded at R18.68, and cucumbers averaged on R16.30 per kilogram. The potato market is entering a period of very low prices. Even though prices ticked up slightly last week, a surge in supply over the next 6 weeks is expected as new producers enter the market. This oversupply will likely keep prices under significant pressure and could prevent any recovery back above the R40 per 10 kg mark. The market also began the week with nearly 120,000 bags unsold, and with temperatures rising, quality issues could soon appear as well. All signs suggest that the potato market is at the start of a sustained low price cycle that could continue into November. Tomatoes, however, remain one of the strongest performers. Prices climbed again and are now nearly 40% higher year on year. Low volumes are keeping this market firm, but from next week, supply is expected to rise. That could gradually cool prices, although for now, the tomato market remains well supported. Spinach continues to strengthen thanks to tighter volumes, while pumpkins and butternuts, though slightly lower this week, are still trading well above last year's price levels. Most other vegetables are showing a slightly softer tone heading into the mid-October lower demand period. Turning to fruit, bananas increased to R9.44 per kilogram, apples rose to R13.61, and pears stayed steady at R9.34. Oranges jumped by 43% to R6.34, avos moved 17% higher to R24.05, and table grapes strengthened to R74.30 per kilogram. Pineapples increased to R11.10, lemons edged up slightly to R6.13, while blueberries dropped by 22% to R47.14 per kilogram. Now let's look at where these markets are heading. The main talking point this week are bananas, oranges, and avocados. The banana market recovered to around R9.44 per kilogram as mentioned, but remains roughly 23% below last year's price levels. Limited volumes have supported the recent upward trend, yet with warmer conditions and more fruit expected to reach the market soon, prices could start easing slightly again in the short term. Demand normally picks up toward the festive season, but for now we may see a bit of a sideways movement before that next lift. Oranges were the star of the fruit markets this week, surging 43% to R6.34 per kilogram as supplies tightened sharply. The season is now winding down, and with fewer oranges left in the pipeline, prices are expected to stay in an upward trend right through to around February next year. Lower volumes and good local demand should continue to support this market, keeping prices relatively firm for the next few months. The same goes for avocados, which climbed another 17% to R24.05 per kilogram. The season is drawing to a close, and as volumes continue to decline, prices are likely to remain in an upward trend into early 2026. Demand remains strong both locally and in export markets, and with supply thinning out, this market should hold steady at elevated levels. Overall, we're seeing a clear divide across the fresh produce market. Vegetables like potatoes and onions are under pressure from oversupply, while tomatoes and spinach remain resilient. In the fruit sector, bananas may soften slightly, but oranges and avocados are now firmly in an upward phase that could extend well into next year as well. That's your AMT Fresh Produce Report for this week. We'll keep tracking how these supply shifts develop as we move deeper into October. Remember, knowledge is power, and here at AMT, we help you make better decisions every week. This episode is proudly brought to you by Villa Crop Protection. For more detailed insights and forecasts and reports, please visit amtrends.co.za and download our latest reports. It's free of charge. I'm Dr. Johnny van der Merwe. Thanks for tuning in, and see you next week.